Hi, this is Doug from the Darksliders podcast. This news segment will cover all the Gamescom news that's not Microsoft related. If you want to hear a reaction to the Microsoft conference, you can always go back to our previous episode or our previous news section, in which we spent an entire hour talking exclusively about the Microsoft press conference. So, hope you guys enjoy the rest of Gamescom.
This is just kind of this stuff that basically was not Microsoft at Gamescom. So first off, they showed a new Final Fantasy 15 trailer, 3 minutes long. My first reaction to this trailer was like, I clicked on the YouTube. I just came home and I was like, Final Fantasy 15, awesome. 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Holy shit, that is a lot of stuff they're going to show. And I was like, just waiting for it. And then I sort of hovered my mouse over it. I was like 3:20, and they'd show like nothing.
There was nothing in this trailer. It was so boring.
Oh my god!
I think I made it a minute and a half before I pulled up. It's like, God, there's 2 more minutes of this. I'm just gonna click forward a bit.
Yeah, they and it opens with like a little girl getting like abused or something. It's like, what? What? Oh, okay.
That
and
trailer was
crying.
That trailer was so dramatic. Like every single aspect of that was like, how can we hit like every emotional string possibly, from that scene to like, oh, and there's this dog running away, and there's a dad and his kid for like a solid minute and a half, just standing
and the dad's
there.
Just crying.
It's like we're gonna hit every possible emotional note we can in this trailer, regardless of how that affects this actual game.
Yeah, I didn't. But did you feel anything watching it? Like I wasn't. I was
bored.
Like, watching the. Huh?
Bored. I felt bored.
Yeah, I mean, like watching the Last Guardian stuff. Besides the fact that it's Last Guardian, like when he makes that jump, you're like, oh my god, is he gonna make that jump? But in this one, I honestly was just waiting for the gameplay. I was like, oh, when's the gameplay coming? Okay, this is kind of okay. Because usually that like setup of like that dramatic setup for like most trailers, especially like Final Fantasy 15, they've been kind of showing gameplay of it. Like that sort of dramatic section is maybe like the first 30 seconds of a trailer, and then after that it's like the gameplay blowout.
Yeah.
And that just never happened. I wasn't like intrigued or interested in whatever story they're trying to tell. It's like a father is sad about his son, who is a prince. He is a king. Drama. It's like, oh man.
Right. That's a thing.
It's really weird too. That like the older guy, like they drastically changed his design for some reason. Like we've seen that character before. That character before was a guy with like slick back hair in a suit.
Well, maybe like this takes place at a different stage in the game.
Well, I mean, it's like before that. Like Noctis, who's like the main character, is like a little kid, but his dad now looks like 10 years older, and he looks like a grizzled king of sorts or something instead of like.
Maybe there's some crazy 13-2 time travel going on. You don't know.
Oh god, there probably is. I don't know. I just like the trailer just like kind of completely fell flat. I think you could have made a dramatic trailer like this and not shown gameplay, but for whatever reason, like this just didn't hit anything emotionally for me.
I was in the same spot. I was excited too. I was like, oh, Final Fantasy, and they teased it like all day, like, oh yeah, it's gonna be. Here's the time. It's coming out. It's coming out. It's coming out. And just I was like, yes, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be. I was like, oh well.
Do you know how they led up to this trailer?
With the dog?
Like you were saying. Yeah, no. Like the day, like how that day went.
Yeah.
At Gamescom.
Like at Gamescom? No, I know how it went on the internet, which is everybody thought there was going to be a playable dog.
So okay. So how this went down at Gamescom is they replayed the Dusk Guy demo with like I think it was like maybe 5 or 6 different times with different YouTube streamers. So they just kept replaying the episode Dusk Guy demo over and over and over again. And at the end of all that, they're like, we're going to show you some new Final Fantasy 15 stuff. And it was that trailer and then the minute and a half of gameplay.
Well, so the minute and a half of gameplay was actually pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. That was awesome.
Had they just released that, I think people would have been happy. This just seemed like a throwaway thing. Like, well, let's get some story out there.
I think they just need to say... I don't even think it was that. I think they just need to show so many minutes of Final Fantasy 15 for people to be like happy and can't complain that they didn't show it. Because they just showed a minute and a half. You're like, what is this bullshit?
That's
Technically,
true.
They gave us 4.5 minutes or something. Like.
That's very true. So, I don't know. I was impressed with the gameplay. The gameplay still looks fantastic. Just
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they could have put together a better trailer. That felt like one of those, like the month before release where it seems like every 4 days they put out a new trailer for a game. It felt like one of those trailers, like a leading up to release, like, okay, we put out 4 other trailers this month. Here's another one just for the hell of it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of development, they're being super weird about the development. First of all, they announced that they are 60% done, but they were like 55% done like 6 months ago or something like that.
Which, considering that it's coming in 2016,
it's not. I don't know why you think that. That's not gonna happen.
Wasn't it in the trailer?
No, that was not in the trailer.
Yes, it was. It for sure in the trailer said coming 2016.
Well, it's not.
No, I don't think it is at all either. But I swear that was in the trailer, and if not, you need to edit all this shit out so I don't sound like a dumbass.
Exactly. It's not in there, Brad. It's like definitely not in there.
I can't find the damn trailer. Okay, anyway, regardless.
It's not in there. Anyway, but yeah, so development's been kind of weird. So they announced they have 60% done, and then they also announced that they're going to. Whenever anybody asks about airships, they keep talking about like they just can't do it right now. Like whatever technology they have, like it just does not work with airships because the original idea for like since Final Fantasy Versus 13 is like we're gonna have an airship that's like an open world, so you can fly up, go around, drop down, and then you're in that area, kind of like just like a legit open world. So what they have announced is that they're actually
shut up right now. Final Fantasy 15 confirmed for 2016 by the director of the game to GameStop 3 days ago.
All right, that's ridiculous though. I'd almost be willing to put a bet on that.
Oh, I know. I guarantee it won't. I would be shocked if it did. But it says right here, release date confirmed 2016.
All right. We'll see.
Quote, we can certainly say to people it's not going to be 2017. It's going to be before that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Brad. Oh, God. Okay, so anyway, what I was talking about before you rudely yelled at me.
I was right. I'm never right.
Yeah. Was that they announced that they're going to try to use some of the Just Cause 3. They're in talks with the Just Cause 3 devs to use some of the Just Cause 3 technology for Final Fantasy 15. And a lot of people have been saying this is probably for the airships and the open world aspect of it. And I was thinking, I was like, they are not that far in development, or they're having some serious issues that they're like trying to make an open world game and they haven't figured out how to make an open world yet.
Yeah, that's got to make you a little bit worried. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, part of this is that this game has been in development for so long.
Yeah.
That if you're only 55% done, I mean, one was, I don't know how much they carried over from the Versus thing, but
real quick, like every announcement they've made, like thus far, there's some other like story-based announcements. It's basically like we're not doing that thing for Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Yeah, so if you're 55% done, and that was like 2008 that was announced. So even if you scrap that in 2012, if you're 50% done after 3 years,
yeah, there's something really weird going on. It kind of seems like one of the things I was reading is like the nickname for the director is like the mop up crew, because apparently the just development was so messy and screwed up before then that he kind of stepped in because he was like a guy who can actually finish games. Like, here's a whole mess of stuff we have. We just need to get this done.
Stitch this all together, make it presentable, get it out the door.
And that's it's kind of what that feels like. And the fact like they're announcing this is like not good. Like, I don't know why they're saying this out loud to people. Like, we know way too much about we know officially way too much about the Final Fantasy 15 development and how screwed up it is. They should have kept a lot of that quiet. Just release trailers, don't have those hour-long things, and just don't talk.
Be quiet and surprise us all in a year.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess next going on is I don't know, this one I'm not too excited about. I know Brad's crazy. I know. Is Battlefront. Battlefront, they had a new trailer for the space battles. They had some new there's like some gameplay floating around, but they're not space battles. They're
like in atmosphere dog fights. I think I think they call it like fighter mode or squadron or something.
Yeah, so I guess the mode is like 10v10 with a lot of AIs, I guess, kind of floating around, like dog fighting stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know, it didn't really make me go ooh. It's like, oh, okay.
It makes me wish they'd make a new Rogue Squadron. That's all it does. Is like, man, I miss Rogue Squadron. Remember when they used to make all these cool Star Wars games? But I liked it. I thought it was really cool. It looks fun. I don't know how well. I'm always, whenever I see space battles or like air combat, I'm always a little like hesitant just because it's so easy to screw that up. And I think a lot of things have to be fine tuned to perfection to make it really effective.
Yeah. I find like, especially, I feel like games either make it too complicated or not complicated enough that it's too boring.
Yeah.
Or it's like so complicated, like helicopters in games, like those take like a long time to learn. But I feel like this is like, oh, you want it to be pick up and play, so I'm like worried it's going to be too simplified.
Yeah.
That it's not going to be super fun.
I mean, because
it looks cool.
It looks cool, and I mean, there's nothing, looking at that, watching the trailer and everything, there's nothing in that makes me go, oh, this is going to suck. It just, looking at it makes me go, is this going to be too complicated that I'm going to get irritated by it, or is it going to be too simple that I'm going to play it once and go, yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, and the thing with like, I think I haven't played like a lot of Rogue Squadron. From what I understand, Rogue Squadron with like they had pretty open maps, but this is like Battlefront is sort of like an arena game. I mean, they're large arenas, but they're still arenas. So the fact that you have like a whole it's like space deathmatch in a small arena kind of thing. It's not like really open. I don't know.
It's one of those things that I don't feel like you're ever going to get a good handle on until they go and just have it in your hands.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just worried that this is a game that's primarily a third-person shooter that has vehicles, and the has vehicles mode is like just its own thing. Like I can't imagine it's gonna be as fun as just doing the.
And how much development time do they actually dedicate to this, or is this just one of those like we can put it on the box type things?
Yeah, and that's kind of what it kind of feels like. We can put it on the box kind of thing. I don't know. It still looks really good though. I feel like I'm kind of spoiled by like next gen stuff because like it looks effing amazing.
Oh yeah,
it definitely looks like. But is it gonna be better than Rogue Squadron 2? Like I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
They should definitely make a new Rogue Squadron.
Oh, I'd be so happy. I mean, the cool thing was, of course, at the end, they had the Millennium Falcon come in and, like, blow some stuff up, and you're like, oh, yeah, and then they had Slave 1 file in behind it, and it's like, oh, boy. Because I always like that aspect of, like, you can play as the famous characters, too, in the middle of this.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool. They've had that, though, in those games before, right?
I don't remember if they did in Space Battles. They didn't, on the ground stuff, they always had the hero characters. I don't remember in, like, the Space Battle type stuff if they did or not.
Okay.
So
this could be a new thing. Yeah, I guess it is kind of fun just like dick around the Millennium Falcon. And, like,
if you don't want to fly the Millennium Falcon, if you say you don't want to fly the Millennium Falcon, you're a terrible person, and I never want to talk to you in my life. The Millennium Falcon.
Okay. Yeah, and the Slave 1 seems kind of cool too. I just felt it was like, okay, it's more Battlefront. I just gotta wait for that game to come out, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, this was actually the most exciting thing I think for me at Gamescom, just because it looked so polished. This game looked ready to like come out almost. Was the Mirror's Edge Catalyst gameplay trailer was everything I wanted from Mirror's Edge 2.
Yeah, it looked really good, which is weird because we've talked about before how Mirror's Edge 1 did not show well, but this looked real good.
Yeah, I think Mirror's Edge is kind of a hard game to show because there's not a lot of there is no shooting. In the new one there's like zero shooting. It's a lot of just like it's like really slow, thought out platforming that sometimes speeds up and goes really quick if you're good. But I don't know, like everything about this just made me go, ooh, that's cool. First of all, they definitely show that it's open world. Yep. Like it was kind of cool. It's like you need to get that building, and like you see that building in a distance, and there's like 4 or 5, there's like skyscrapers in between, and it felt like you could sort of choose whichever way you wanted.
Yeah, and along with that, they got rid of the first one had those very dedicated paths where it was, here's your bright red, orange object that you need to run to. You need to use this specific thing. This gameplay had nothing highlighted in there, so it almost felt more like I can go to that sky. I can go that way. I can do this. I can try this.
Yeah, it definitely felt more like you had more choice. Where like I can see exactly what you're saying. But Mirror's Edge 1 was like a linear game. I think
yes.
And it felt even more linear by the fact like here's the objects that you can interact with. But this one it feels like I can just interact with everything. And the thing I really liked about it that I'm kind of excited about is the thing I don't like Assassin's Creed games that much. And one of the things that always bugs me is like they have these really really cool environments that look really fun to run around in. but it's so easy to run around in that doesn't really matter. Like, you just hold A and then you
and
press
you can
forward.
climb on whatever, and you can run up whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it doesn't really matter how that game is designed. It doesn't matter what it looks like because you're holding A through every situation. That might not be true now. I've been playing an Assassin's Creed game like 5 years, so that might be vastly different. But from what I understand, that's kind of how the game has always been.
Yeah.
But this one, they show like an open world, and they show this stuff to climb, and you're thinking it's like, oh, I actually have to think about how I'm going to attack this environment. Like that to me is super exciting. One of the other things I thought when they first opened up, I thought when they showed the open world, I thought the art design was like, it looks okay. I really, really like the art design for Mirror's Edge 1, like those really bright colors and stuff.
Yep.
But as soon as they went indoors to the, I don't know, whatever building she was trying to break into, they had like those really classic, like really hard greens and like really bright colors, and I was like, oh man, so good.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, like, people who didn't play Mirror's Edge 1, are they having the same feeling with this? Because we both really liked Mirror's Edge 1, you know what I mean? And I think it's showing much better because it's a known quantity now. If you never played Mirror's Edge 1, I wonder if you still have that feeling of, like, the hell is this? Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like whenever, like our podcast, like we're like in our mid-20s, I always do wonder like how these sort of announcements go with like high schoolers. Like, I'm really curious because like, are they super excited about Battlefront, or are they like, or does Mirror's Edge just look stupid and like, why I don't get this game? Like, I can totally see why somebody look at this and think this is stupid. Way I can't shoot these guys. I have to like kick them, and it's all one hit kills, and I'm jumping through stuff. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I am really curious how people who haven't played Mirror's Edge would look at this game. I played it though, so I'm excited.
Exactly, and that's all that really matters.
I'm just glad we're getting Mirror's Edge 2. I doubt Mirror's Edge 3 is coming.
Well, I mean, if this goes and sells like crazy, I'm shocked this is a thing too, because Mirror's Edge 1 did not sell well, if I remember correctly. Like, not at all.
No, it was like basically that was like when they did Dead Space, Mirror's Edge, and they funded Brutal Legend. And like the only experiment that really worked out was Dead Space.
Yeah, although Brutal Legend is arguably the best one of those three games.
Okay.
I say arguably because I'm going to argue it and no one else is going to agree with me.
That's fine. Maybe we'll talk about that one later. I have played a little bit of that game. I just didn't like it.
Brutal Legend.
I love the. Oh, never mind. We're not gonna. I really like the setting. I didn't like anything else. Anyway. So yeah, Mirror's Edge, super cool. The other game that looked almost not finished, but like it definitely looked like, probably one of the better showings was Unraveled. Unraveled was, I think, announced at E3, wasn't it?
I don't remember this ever being a thing.
You don't remember this one? Oh, this was this was definitely announced at E3. The trailer they showed at E3 was like there's a part where there's a fish and he like hooks onto the fish and like slide and like goes across a lake really quick. You didn't see that one?
Nope. I do not remember a thing about this until you sent me the gameplay trailer.
Okay. So Unraveled is basically, well, like kind of like Never Alone. It's like one of those story-based platformer games with, it looks like light puzzle elements, or actually pretty heavy puzzle elements. When I was like watching them go through the gameplay, I felt kind of stupid because like I didn't know how to figure out the puzzle. It made me excited. Like I couldn't immediately go, hey, that's how you beat this puzzle. And that's why I was like, ooh, now I'm excited. Because Never Alone, I kind of felt was like, okay, this is a little too
Never
easy.
Alone has way easy puzzles.
Yeah, so like when they showed a game that kind of looks like Little Big Planet, but a Little Big Planet story has this like weird kind of, because it's all, I don't know, editor created levels. They feel like a little weird. Like there's just a little bit of jankiness to it. So it looked like a not janky version of Little Big Planet with like interesting puzzles. I was like, ooh, that sounds awesome. It looks really good too.
Yeah, the water effects in the gameplay trailer look fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It's also a weird setting too, because I think the devs are from Sweden. They're like, and when they're doing the game, I think the gameplay trailer or walkthroughs, and they're like, "This is the beaches of Sweden." I was like, "Oh, that's never a setting I would have ever
never gone to Sweden in a video game. I don't feel like.
Yeah, it's like playing a guy made out of yarn going through a Swedish setting, and like they kept talking about like emotions and memories and things like that. I was like, "Oh, okay, it's gonna be one of those games." But this is one of those things that I've kind of had a problem with RD games, is like Never Alone, is that they don't really have complex gameplay mechanics, and they aren't really hard. They're not generally not very hard. Like Journey is like a game you just kind of walk. Like there's no difficulty to it. So the fact that there's a game like a RD game with more complex gameplay aspects while still being an emotional adventure, like that has me really excited. I'm kind of hoping that more RD games will be like that in the future.
Yeah, but that kind of goes against the idea of what you're going for. Never Alone, I don't feel like was difficult because you're trying to get across this story that people haven't heard. And you don't want people to get to the point where they go, "Oh, this game's too hard. I don't care enough about the story to go through with it."
Mm-hmm.
You want them to see this whole cohesive story, and the thing that you're trying to do is tell a story. You're not trying to create Dark Souls level of difficulty. You're trying to create an intricate narrative that people are truly going to be invested in and want to see through to the end.
But I think you can make a game that's not necessarily like, Dark Souls or something. You can make a game that's still challenging, that still tells a good story. Like, I don't think that a game can't be challenging and also tell a good story.
No, I agree completely, but I think as a developer, you kind of need to draw a line somewhere. Which are you going for? Are you going for a very gameplay focused, difficult game to get through that does have a really good and have that emotional story with the knowledge that, okay, people are going to get stuck, frustrated, and irritated and not go through with this? Or do you lay back and go, okay, the point that I really want to get across is my story. I want the gameplay aspects to be in there to enhance the story, but I don't want them to be difficult to the point where someone is going to get frustrated and just set the controller down and walk away.
Yeah. No, that's true. I would say it's a delicate balance. I think a lot of people are just saying, they're going one way or the other. But I mean, I would argue a game like, say, Portal. Like, Portal has those are some really challenging puzzles, and that still has, like, really, really strong story, especially Portal 2.
See, and I'll agree, but comparing that to a game like Never Alone, where Never Alone, the goal of Never Alone is the story. Nobody is saying Never Alone is played for the gameplay. Portal has awesome gameplay. And it has an awesome story, but I don't think Valve is sitting there going like, man, I really want to make sure people get to the end of this story.
Yeah. I guess that's true. I just kind of, because I keep playing these arty games, but I've also been playing games for like 20 years. Like, I do want some challenge in those. Like, I can understand, like, that a dev can't make a game for me. Like, I'm not their target audience. Like, I shouldn't be, especially with like one where they're trying to like teach people and things like that. Yeah. Even this one is like it's not necessarily teaching people, but it's kind of showing them, hey, this is Sweden. Like, this is a place that you have never been.
Mm-hmm.
That, so I guess when you do show new stuff, you kind of have to like take it slow. But I'm hoping that with enough arty games, like we're okay with, we are more confident now that we don't have to take it slow all the time.
Yeah.
This is not interesting. This is news that Brad put on here that I never would have talked about otherwise. But Halo, are you sure this is true? Halo 5 has a T rating?
Do you want me to not just like put anything on here? You're like trying to fact check every single thing that I put on here. Like,
okay, to be fair, Final Fantasy 15
can't be true.
Okay, all right. It says okay. It does say rated T. I was just asking.
Yeah.
Okay, the fact that you said Final Fantasy 15 was coming out sometime this decade, like maybe that made me fact check you. That was the old. I rarely fact check you. The fact that somebody said Final Fantasy 15 is actually coming out in 2016 did blow my mind. Okay, no, you're right though. So Halo 5 is rated T, and this bugs you for some reason.
Okay, it doesn't bug me. It's just one of those really weird things. So this is the first T-rated Halo game.
I don't agree with that.
It's true.
I will agree that this is.
Let me read the headline from Destructoid. Halo 5, first game in series rated T for teen.
No. Okay, here's my point. That is true. What I'm saying is that this is not. No. Hear me out. This is not the first Halo game that could have been rated teen.
And that's why I want to talk about this, because Halo is the weirdest series to have an M rating through the entire series. Because when you compare that with other M-rated games, it does not hold up at all.
Yeah, so to me, this to me makes perfect sense. This is like, okay, we finally get what Halo is, and Halo is not an M-rated
But it's weird that it took this long. I mean, this is essentially Halo 7. If you count ODST and Reach, this would be like Halo 7. And it took 7 games for them to go, yeah, I guess this is a T-rated game. Like, what has been changed for this to become a T-rated game?
I think at the point they were like, this probably could be a T-rated franchise, is when they released ODST and Reach, which were very M-rated from what I understand. Like, especially Reach. Like, Reach has, like, pretty violent from what is, like, the most M-rated Halo game.
That's probably true. I don't know.
So that's why I feel like that's when they're like, okay, Halo's never getting another T rating.
I don't know. It's one of those things that's weird where it's like, you made it this far in a series and all of a sudden it's T-rated. Like, did something change in the game, or is something changing about their standards?
I think something is changing with their standards because I think M-rated games have just gotten so incredibly violent.
Yeah, like
like
I feel like if you stack like Halo 5 and Grand Theft Auto 5 next to each other, everybody's gonna. If you're gonna say which one of these should be M-rated, every single person on Earth is gonna point to Grand Theft Auto 5.
yeah. So to me, this isn't weird. I think this is like getting with the times because I always felt like Halo, just in general, was like a T-rated series that just happened to be rated M for some reason. I'm really curious as to why it was rated M in the first place.
Well, if you look at the first one, when you introduce the Flood, and I don't think did you ever play Halo 1?
No, I played it. I didn't play
like
it.
when they introduced the Flood, there is some really well done horror aspects in the initial Flood reveal in Halo 1.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of like people's heads being replaced and things like that in a similar way to like the Half-Life things that do that.
The head crabs.
Yeah, the head crabs in Half-Life. So there's a lot of very similarities in the way the Flood work and the head crabs work. So the first one makes sense to me. And like you said, Reach kind of makes sense to me. But like I don't know, I feel like just getting away from the Flood, and that was kind of the violent aspect of it, just the way those things interacted with people, I think is where a lot of the M rating came from. But
Okay.
so like the first few make sense to me, but like Halo 4, no.
Okay. So I think this is just game. I think Destiny was sort of the game that also set that precedent because Destiny's rated teen, isn't it?
I don't remember. I honestly very rarely pay attention to stuff like this.
That's true. I think we're at the age where like a rating doesn't really matter. It's like it don't matter when I actually have kids. I'll be on top. I'll be that jackass parent who's like, you can't play M-rated games till you're like so certain age. Destiny is rated teen.
Yeah, and again, that makes me feel like almost like they're like, next generation, we need to start differentiating between Grand Theft Auto and Halo. There should be a line between those two, and those should not be the same thing.
Or hell, even like Halo and Tomb Raider. Like Jesus, even Tomb Raider's like all aboard the M-rated wet bandwagon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. This to me makes sense. Why are you like? Were you mad about this?
No, it was just it was more of just like a weird thing. Like after 7 games, now the ratings changed. You know what I mean? Like
you just think they should have done this like years ago?
Yeah, years ago. Like okay, to use a weird example, Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like Die Hard 1, 2, and 3 were all R-rated movies, and then Live Free or Die Hard comes out, and it's a PG-13 movie. And that movie feels drastically different than Die Hard 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but nobody ever said Die Hard should be a PG-13 franchise. Like, oh, this is not real. This is like kind of PG-13. But like his tagline.
But that's yeah, exactly, and that's what's kind of my thing is like, well, what's changed to get this to this rating? Like, are they like scaling something back, or is it like, okay, the ESRB is finally kind of caught up and gone like, whoa, hang on a second here. So it's just one of those like weird like how they're shifting a franchise, or are they shifting ratings?
I can understand that because that's what kind of I had with Arkham Knight. Like when Arkham Knight went M-rated, it went M-rated.
Yeah,
like,
same idea.
Clearly an M-rated game. So, but I don't think Halo. Like you've played enough Halo. Do you think there's anything they could have cut back to make it a teen rating, or they could have always been teen to begin with?
I think once you get past 2, I think Halo 1 for sure deserved an M rating. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to remember. I think anything that really heavily involved the Flood, just kind of in a similar way to like anything in Half-Life involving a head crab. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just the way that concept works almost has to be M-rated.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say when you remove the Flood from it, or when you remove like the Flood from being a major player in it, which I can't remember specifically what numbers that was, but that would be the one where I'd say it'd be T. Yeah,
because now they're basically fighting robots.
Yeah, it's like aliens and Spartans, and they're fighting each other, and
yeah.
Fun narrative.
That's kind of interesting. They finally caught on. Hopefully, like hopefully ESRB is getting a little bit smarter with that. I think we're seeing fewer and fewer games like this rating doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I think E10 actually really helped that. I really do hope there's like a hard teen one, like there's a difference between like Grand Theft, like a really like Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto and what's the name? I don't know. To be fair, actually all the M-rated games now are being kind of gross about it, so I don't know. Okay, so moving on, the last one. This is huge news. I think this because I really liked Mafia 2.
This is one of those things that I think is huge to a very small group of people and very insignificant to a large majority of people, and we both happen to be in that small minority of people who are like, hell yes.
Yeah, Okay, so there's two things that kind of came out. There's gameplay in the trailer. The first thing I want to talk about, which I think was the better part, was the trailer, which
Oh,
is
the
not a good thing
trailer
to
is
say.
so good.
But that trailer was absolutely incredible. Uh, I like that it kind of opens with this isn't necessarily a Mafia. This is I don't know. It could be any game really. Like it's just like
Yeah,
it's
just
a
like a
black
dude.
guy
It's like a
and
dude talking in the car.
yeah, it's like a black guy in a car, and his story sounded really interesting. He's like
Yep.
this whole thing with like family and stuff. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's like a mafia thing, like talking about family and making your own family and things like that. And then I thought it was really cool, like when they sort of like finally reveal, like you knew this is a Mafia 3 trailer going to it, but they like finally reveal that this is a Mafia game. He's like talking to the guy. You realize he's talking to like a Mafia guy in the back. He's like, you wouldn't know anything about family. You're born into your family. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I thought this was super cool because it wasn't what I expected for Mafia 3. I thought Mafia 3 was just going to be Mafia 2 too.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing I really like is that it's kind of clear that he's not in the Mafia, but the Mafia play that he's like probably an antagonist of the Mafia, which I was like, oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, that trailer was freaking awesome. They had like the 4 people at the end. I was like, oh.
See, the 4 people made me a little nervous because in my mind, that instantly my mind went to 4-player co-op, and I don't want 4-player co-op. That was as soon as I see if they put 3 characters or they'd put 5, I would have been totally fine with it. But they put 4, and my mind went, shit, 4-player co-op.
Okay, to put your mind at ease, there is not 4-player co-op that we know of yet.
Yet.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, there probably will be.
That's like my thing is whenever that number 4, just as soon as I see 4, it's like shit. There's 4-player co-op.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, that everything about that trailer was so well done, and I think it really needed that because I think a large majority of people don't quite know like what Mafia is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that trailer was so interesting and so well done that it generated enough buzz on its own without needing people like us who love the first 2 to say, like, no, you need to play this, no, you need to play this. It's like, watch this trailer and then go, holy crap, whatever that is, I want to see the rest of that.
Yeah, the thing I really liked about the trailer too is that it's like subtle. Like it is a guy just in a car talking for like most of it.
Yeah.
And then you don't actually I think you see the guy. I think you might see the guy get stabbed, or they at least imply he gets stabbed. You don't actually see him get eaten by the crocodiles. You just like it kind of happens off screen, sort of.
Yeah, and that was an awesome way to reveal the setting too.
Oh, that was pretty.
Like,
yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know if they announced that it was Louisiana, right? I don't know.
It's Louisiana.
I don't know if they announced that prior to the trailer or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really feel like it was hinted at until like that point where he gets there and it's like, oh man, he's in like a swamp or something. And you see the crocodile, like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think it's cool. I am of the opinion I love when they mix up franchises when they do like take like really like radical new steps. So this is the point I want to make with the crocodile though is that a lot of the violence was sort of like implied. Like they showed it off screen.
Yep.
Like you don't actually see the guy get beaten up. I think you see him get stabbed, but it's like kind of dark, so you don't really see that, and you don't actually see him getting eaten by the crocodile. And that's the thing that's kind of cool with the Mafia series is a lot. I mean, it is a pretty violent game, but it's not like the thing is not it's not a bombastic like shooting guys in the face and this and that. And then they show the gameplay trailer, and it looks exactly like the stuff I don't like. Like it just looks like they make Grand Theft Auto. Like in the gameplay trailer, there's a part where he just walks up to a random bystander and then stabs him in the face like 6 or 7 times with a knife.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not Mafia.
Which is just weird to me because I feel like the first 2 were all about like subtlety and like you're a mafia man. You don't just run around doing dumb shit. You got to think this through.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't get because I mean the character they showed in the trailers like looks like he's like like a man of respect and a man of subtlety and stuff like that, and like his whole thing about family and being an orphan. I was like, that is so interesting. And then when I see that character like and like later on they showed a car chase like you go off the back end of a moving vehicle or something like that, and like you jump over cop cars and there's explosions. I was like, that is not what you guys showed in that trailer. That is not that same game. Like it kind of looks like that game, but I don't know.
And I mean, I guess the thing with this is this game has always been considered that like Grand Theft Auto ripoff type thing. And I mean, the last thing I feel like you want to do is keep up with that stereotype. Like this game was like, oh, it was early 1900s Grand Theft Auto. That's what this game was. until you sat down and you played it and you went, no, this is a very narrative heavy,
very linear game.
Yeah, very linear, very narrative, very, very straightforward game.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I feel like the gameplay, like, there's ways they could do that, because Mafia 2 had some pretty well done action set pieces to it, but they were intentional and in the story. Just walking down the street and seeing him stab someone does not feel like it fits in a Mafia game to me.
No, and there was like some people are talking. It's like this is probably just this is what they're using to sell the game. Like people who don't know Mafia, they'd be like, oh, okay, cool. It's like Grand Theft Auto in the 1960s. That's awesome. So like that's maybe what they're selling the game. There's another few things I thought was weird gameplay wise. Is that the 4 people were like factions. You can sort of like either choose to do missions for them or not do missions for them. They have like safe houses and stuff. And I didn't like that because I liked that Mafia stories were really linear. And I felt that the best parts of the Mafia storyline is when you didn't have a choice and something really horrible happened that you could not have prevented and you just had to deal with those consequences. And now the fact that like you have like choices and options in your story, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I like the idea of just kind of like working your way through the family. You know what I mean? Like, you're the low-level dude who, like, oh, shit, like, and then shit goes wrong, and you have to kind of adjust, and, like, you don't really want to do this, but you have to do it, but it's going to really, like, move you up in the family, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that creates a lot of narrative tension that I feel like just with, like, I can go help this guy, screw that guy, I'm going to go help this guy. Like, it eliminates that, and it makes it...
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, like, and again, we talked about earlier, like, next gen having new things in it. If you can really set up your AI and you can really set up your narrative to the point where those choices actually affect the way that NPCs interact with you, and more so than just in a, like, oh, I can't go in this gang's territory now, or they're going to shoot me. But, like, if now, okay, I didn't go and do a job for this family, so now this family's out to get me, so now there's a new job that opens up with, you know what I mean? Like, you could get to the point where there's some of that could really, really come across really cool, but I don't know if that technology's there.
Yeah, if they do this and they have like real consequences in story and stuff like that, because I feel like especially like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, or just open world games in general, it's like, okay, yeah, this area is now blocked off and you can't go there, and like that's all they do really.
Yeah. It's blue on the map now.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And like there's one that the stuff they're describing too is like it's that straightforward stuff. It's like, oh, if you help this person, you can call in their gang to help you. I was like, that's not. If there's a story reason for that gang to come help me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If I'm hitting a button that says call in gang, that's not cool.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
And as you're saying that, that's what Saints Row has. Is Saints Row, you whip up the cell phone, I'm like, yeah, come help me right now, and then the soda cans come and shoot people. It's like, it sounds like the same thing, except for, well, we're not Saints Row, so they're not soda cans, they're gangsters.
Yeah. That's I don't know. I feel like I was super interested in this game until they started explaining the new aspects to the series, and I was like, oh, that's not cool. Because, I mean, honestly, the characters they set up look and seem awesome. Like, I think it's really cool that it's like an antagonist to the Mafia, or somebody who's like working with the Mafia, or is like slightly against the grain. Like, I think that's kind of interesting, because the Mafia games, how I've always been like, here's a low-level guy moving up through the ranks. So what about like a third party? Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down. I don't know. This I'm really afraid it's turning into Grand Theft Auto Mafia.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's way too early, and I haven't seen enough for me to be that nervous about it, because I'm still just like, shit, it's new Mafia. Who gives a... Like, it's going to be good. But, I don't know. The more they talk about it, the more nervous I get. And the more it's like, you're taking this game that I really, really like, and in my mind does something very unique, and you're turning
especially gameplay-wise.
Yeah, and you're just turning it into another open world, I'm going to kill everybody in front of me.
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully, like when we see like actually like a long form gameplay, like let's watch a mission or something like that. Like that'll probably make or break. But man, when I saw like pull out a rocket launcher, I was just like, oh, dang it.
No, that shouldn't be in here.
No. All right. So that was about all the news that we're gonna get through this week. So we are the Darksliders podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Darksliders_POD. You can also follow us on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, pretty much wherever you're listening to us to. You can subscribe to us there. So we'll be around next week. Hope to see you guys then.
Bye.